Good evening. I've finished another book I want to tell you about, and it's this one. Look, this is The Twilight of the Gods by Christopher Bulis. And it's my second Doctor story. And do you know, the key thing I thought in relation to this story is just how wonderful Pat is as a Doctor. It's strange that the coincidence of having started watching The Two Doctors now, because my main takeaway of the first episode of The Two Doctors is for that brief period at the start where Pat's in it, just how marvellous it is. And I forget, I think, sometimes just how much I love Pat's Doctor. But that Pat screams off this page. Are you coming? Come on. Pat screams, you know, the characterisation. I don't know if it's just the quality of Pat's characterisation, here's Humphrey, or the fact that Christopher Bullis is particularly good at writing for Pat. But my goodness, it just is absolutely joyous to see Pat in this story.
Dad, I
Yes.
just want to confirm something with
Yes.
you. Don't I do the books and you do the TV?
Not this one, not this series. So the other thing that's key about this is, of course, we're back on Vortis. And it's interesting, you know, I think this book goes to great lengths to provide some really interesting things about the web planet. But the thing is, the problem with that is that it was already a very interesting place. And having a civil war fought out on it is a little bit, perhaps a little bit over the top. I'm going to angle this so I can see your beautiful face, Humphrey. But I did really enjoy being back on Vortis. And I do think the Menoptera and the Zarbi, there's not many Zarbi in this, actually. It's interesting that we remember the Zarbi as being the Zarbi. That's the novelisation, isn't it, that's caused that to happen. And the Optra. But, yes, so, I mean, that's very pleasant. In terms of the plotting of this book, I have to say, it's as I told Humphrey just, it's a little bit bitty. It seems as if, for a long period of the book, it's a bit like a farce. Everybody's running around, missing each other, going back and forth. We do meet these... I like the parallels between the two different sides of the... is it Rumenon invaders onto Vortis. But fundamentally, what we've got here is just a good old run around with a load of old set pieces. Sit down, man. Sit down.
Wait. Also, I don't know if you've ever been in here before. This is my bedroom.
Humphrey.
Got my own library.
Sit down.
Sort of.
You have. In terms of our regulars, we've got Jamie in this, and Jamie's just Jamie, and he's all good fun. I have to be honest, Victoria. I'd forgotten just how much I don't really get Victoria. I mean, of the two major TARDIS crews that Pat had, no disrespect to Brennan Polly, of course, I'm much more of a Zoe man. I really think that Zoe suited Pat's Doctor beautifully well. I don't really get what Victoria brings to the party. I know it's a bit sacrilege. I always felt back in the day that the glory days of Pat were considered to be when Victoria was around, but I think that Zoe's a much superior character. But that's by the by. I think the bottom line is that what a golden era it was for Doctor Who then. Not perhaps the most popular era of Doctor Who, but certainly one in which I think the template was set for what the programme was going to be. And just how much fun Pat was as a character, just able to do everything the Doctor needed to be. I think he's a much underrated Doctor. Oh, and the other thing I need to say, in both relation to this and the last book I read, makes you feel slightly uncomfortable when the Doctor can suddenly start piloting the TARDIS where he wants to take it. That is not a first and second Doctor thing. You know what I mean? That is not how things should be.
Whole plot of the Daleks.
You are?
That's the whole plot of the Daleks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we watched the Daleks, and that was, you know, if he didn't land on Skaro then, who knows what would have happened. Anyway, so yes, my next story is called Dancing the Code. It's a third Doctor story, of course, because we're going in order, and I'm mighty excited. Anyway, there we go. So this was Humphrey. This was Twilight of the Gods, with Pat and Victoria there. Silly boy. And it was rather good, and we shall see you next time. Bye-bye. Say goodbye, Humphrey.
And Doctor...